Like, you know, this is God in them streets, and we saying we God in them streets, not because of all the negative things that took place in the street, but we gods in the streets because that's where we first started to teach. And like the God said, in all the 5 boroughs of New York City, you know what I'm saying, upstate New York, Jersey, Connecticut, and all the places that we first touched with the knowledge, many individuals, if you lived in a community where you got off the train station coming home, you seen us on those street corners, changing the reality of how we thought as a people. Because the first thing that we had to do is change our diet. And along with changing our diet, we began to change our way of thinking. So let's bring this back to the foundation of hip-hop. It was once upon a time, you know, that they say that hip-hop originated in the Bronx. I'm going to be contrary to that. And the only reason I'm going to be contrary to that is because in all 5 boroughs, we had hip-hop already taking place. You know what I'm saying? People don't know about in Brooklyn, as we call Medina, in East New York, Cypress Hills Projects. We had a man that's not even giving none of his credit, his just due. His name is Mr. Ellis. Mr. Ellis fought what you call the Kick and Coffin. We used to be out in the park in the 70s. Y'all call it the disco or whatever, you know what I'm saying? With my man mixing on the turntables in a coffin. And not only did he have the Kick and Coffin, he also created the peak caboose. Yeah, those of y'all that's out of Cypress and know real Cypress history, the Dotsons. You know what I'm saying? Jamie Dotson, Mikey Dotson, Pete Dotson, Tony Dotson. You know what I'm saying? And he made a caboose with 2 turntables up in it. And then if y'all know more history, you go around the corner and you had MC Haswell that he made the MC for. You got Brownsville that had, you know what I'm saying, the Disco Twin. You know, they made the 4, 5, 6 Cee-Low. He helped make that, create that. We used to have Brooklyn Queens Day out in Queensbridge. Let's go back to the foundation of these things. So people say in Brooklyn, you know, Grand, my man, Sonny Chiba. You had a whole bunch of other individuals. Eddie Chiba. So what I'm saying is that I'm trying to record these things back in my mind so I can give it to you right. And the direction that I want to take you is that at that time, at the beginning of hip-hop, which y'all say originated in the Bronx through African Bambaataa, you know, and the Zulu nation, huh?
Through Kool Herc.
Yeah, through Kool Herc. But I'm saying you got other people that associate hip-hop with African Bambaataa in them.
Yeah,
which African Bambaataa in them, you know what I'm saying, formed the Zulu nation. The Zulu nation at that time when he was forming it, you know what I'm saying, that any of y'all that's a part of it, all of the major gangs or cultures, and the Zulu is not a gang also, but anyone that got any type of substance to what they talking about, they got it from some type of offspring of our foundational knowledge. So at that time, when they formed the Zulu nation, matter of fact, I got some history from another older brother that said that it was a brother in P-Lawn, which is the Bronx, and we was known for a bunch of guards being inside Bronx River and all that, that when African Bambaataa first started to form the Zulu nation, that when he ran into him, we got our supreme alphabet. We got A for Allah, he had A for Africa. So his whole blueprint had something to do with the formulation of our supreme alphabet. And the brother told him you can't utilize that because of our foundation. And it was a brother, that was told to me his name was Wonderful from up there in Pelon. So continuing on with this and the history of hip hop, like the God said, the standing on the square, all the b-boys stand, come from us to Cypher. But there was a time when those of y'all that know from back then, that we used to go down on 42nd Street, Born King, and we used to go through it with the Zulu Nation so-called queens. Because they used to wear crowns back then, like we wore crowns, but from Medina, Brooklyn, I'm not just going to put it as far as it's just a Medina thing, because it could have been any guard from any borough or from any state. But we associated the tassel that was free. Not only did you have 360 degrees of knowledge, you know what I'm saying, wisdom and understanding, but that was also what we classified as a representation that you was a warrior. So when we ran into they women wearing crowns with the tassels on it, we used to be going at it. Because everything has a mathematical order. Everything has a science order in life. And we're not talking about man being born before woman or anything like that. But we're talking about the knowledge has always got to be before the wisdom. So we used to roll into confrontations, with them, with that. So by the time what we have now, which is hip hop, like he said, with KRS-One. KRS-One, I remember running into you back in the days because I was a graffiti writer. I was a part of what we call 3 Yard Boys back then. You know what I'm saying? I know Blade. I know white boy Vinny that used to write on the A train. I know R.Ad. I know the real Slim and the real T. Individuals that died writing graffiti on the train. Remember, we live out in the east. Linden Plaza, which is Mount Everest, 29,141 feet, is the highest foundation in Brooklyn, built up over the A train, which we call the law train. Because all them individuals knew back then, you could tell when it was Parliament time. Because the A train was full all the way from the desert, from Far Rockaway, all the way uptown. So Chuck D, KRS-One, like I said once again, that was in St. Vincent Home, downtown Brooklyn, on what's that? Flatbush Avenue or whatever, going toward the Brooklyn Bridge, sits right there across from Hoyt and Skimmerhorn. Criminal, right there, sit right across from Brooklyn House. Is where you met your wife, Miss Melody. And I remember when you used to write KRS-One on the train before you even became famous as a rap artist. So there's nobody. And that's why when my brother called me today going off with this energy, I said, yo, I got to come and we got to add on to this. Because it's true. Nobody don't want to give us our props. And we can't understand that. Because Chuck D, as much as you influence, as much as you came, you know what I'm saying, with the radical perspective, you know what I'm saying, what was going on in our community, for you to leave out the gods and the earths and our contribution to hip hop, and you coming from Long Island, let me know. Wyandanch, Amityville, Freeport, Hempstead, it's newspaper articles with our influence inside the school. I got my own little thing that I can tell about this before I let my brother Born King come back on. You know what I'm saying? And this is dedicated to my old earth that just passed away recently, which is what was going to be my next one until the God called me today. you know, and my old earth scrubbed floors all her life. And she had one particular Jewish white woman that she worked for named Miss Corn, you know, and she was an educator out there in Long Island. And once the knowledge came to Long Island in the abundance, you know what I'm saying? Of course, she works in the school system. She started hearing the guards building and rebelling against our mentality that they wanted us to coexist in as a slave mentality. And now they standing up and they saying, yo, I'm not a slave. You know what I'm saying? But I am the original man, the true essence of everything that there is. So now, because she's a Jew, you know that's the first person, because my mom used to come on with, you know, mozzarella sticks and, you know, about the lox and the bagel and everything else. And she told my mother that once I graduated from high school, that she was gonna pay my college tuition every year. And guess what happened? Once I was graduating from high school, my mother didn't know no better. Because back then, like I said before, the first person that you got to teach is your own earth. I gotta come in the house and say, Ma, I don't eat no swine no more. Ma, I'm not going to no church no more to sit down and let some blonde-haired, blue-eyed individual say that that is my God. But my mom, she, you know, it is what she know. So, in the conversation with this Jewish lady, Miss Corn, mind you, always sent me nice birthday gifts, always been polite, a nice lady. I first learned about Poughkeepsie, New York, going up there when I was young, when white dudes was, when they finally started to come and want to play with me, they wanted to touch my skin to see is a black person's skin real. Okay? So now, my mother in the course of the conversation says to her that I'm a 5%er. Because whether she wanted to bear witness or not, at that time she thought it was a good thing. It kept me in school, it kept me dealing with the real teachers of a law. And that's why I was able to graduate and be on my way to college. But once my mother told her I was a 5%er, that was it. Because she was teaching in the school. And she seen the change in the mentality. I left to go away to college in 1980, just like the God said. And we was doing our job. Everything that a lot of y'all on here, from, you know what I'm saying, no disrespect, Hansard Campbell, Charleston White, you know what I'm saying, my man Doggy Diamonds, all y'all that be, you know, out here trying to give the street knowledge and place it on the level where people can understand that we got to what? Wake up and unite. It's what we've been doing. So we all was affected. And we all, whether you was gang, whatever you was, when the drug era, the crack era came along, it affected all of us. And this is what he wanted. Because just like the God said, back when we dealing with our father and the assassination of Malcolm, the assassination of Martin Luther King and everything, you had COINTELPRO, which was out to kill all the what so-called black messiahs. That's why, like the God said, that our first taught, or our firstborn, as they call him, Kareem, Black Messiah. And he went out into the ghettos of hell and started doing his job. And every brother that he taught was responsible to bring in at least, as we say, born 9 more brothers. And you be the one to add on to make the cipher complete. So y'all need to stop with all of this ignorance going on out here and not giving us our props. When Deb, when Bibby, when all of y'all get on these shows and y'all talk about hip-hop, don't none of y'all mention the influence of the 5% Nation of Gods and Earth. Y'all better recognize Peaceborn can give it to them.